Braid to leader, a somewhat controversial topic in the YouTube fishing community. If you listen to YouTubers such as Randy Blockett, you've probably heard takes like this.
I don't like or think that braid to fluorocarbon's a good idea.
But if you watch other channels such as Tactical Bassin, you've heard takes like this.
But you get the benefit of using braid to leader.
So what gives? When should you use braid to leader? Well, the answer is yes. Every single one of you should be using braid to leader right this second. Now, before you click off the video or leave a comment about why braid to leader is stupid or unnecessary, hear me out. Today, I'm bringing you a guide, or more simply, a rule that I like to call the 50-75-95 rule. And I already know that you, yes you, fall into the 50% category even if you hate the idea of braid to leader. Let me explain. The 50-75-95 rule deals with how much braid we're spooling on our reel, whether it's a casting or a spinning reel. 50 correlates to 50% braid, 75 to 75%, and 95 to 95%. I'm going to go through each category and tell you which lures you should be using and why. Let's start with the 50% category. The 50% category is more commonly known as backing. This is the category that every single bass angler on the planet should at least fall into. The reason why people spool up with half braid and say half fluorocarbon is simple: money. Pretty much every serious professional and weekend angler now use fluorocarbon, but it is no secret quality fluorocarbon is expensive. Backing your reel with braid allows you to keep the same braid on for 2 or 3 seasons while only replacing the fluorocarbon leader. This saves you so much money over the course of your fishing career. If you don't want to deal with the hassle of the connection knot or don't believe in the benefits of braid to leader, at least spool up 50% of your reel with braid in order to get the cost savings. Your wallet is going to thank you. Now, even being the big braid to leader fanboy that I am, there are 3 techniques where I use backing alone. There's a jerk baits, spy baits, and deep crankbaits. The reason I use 50% as opposed to 75 or 95% on these techniques is simple. I don't ever want any braid coming out when I make a long cast. That's because braid can change the action of the baits, and when I'm fishing a jerk bait or a spy bait, that can mean fewer bites. Now that we've covered the 50% category, let's move on to the next. The 75% category is typically what I refer to as the moving bait category. This covers all your standard moving baits such as spinner baits, chatter baits, big swim baits, glide baits, square bills. You get the point. There's a couple different reasons I go with 75% braid with these lures. The first reason is that when I set the hook at the end of a long cast, I like setting the hook on braid for extra penetration. I also like the fact that when I see the braid coming out on shorter casts, I know it's time to replace the leader. Most of the time, you won't even notice you're using braid to leader, but if you start to see your braid on each cast, go ahead and retie your leader because at that point, you're most likely under spool. Now that we've covered 50 and 75% category, let's move on to our last category. The 95% category is our last category, sorta. Anything you flip, pitch, or fish on bottom is going to land here, such as jigs, Texas rigs, and drop shots. This is where braid to leader really shines through. Something I haven't mentioned yet is on all my braid to leader reels, I'm using a high vis yellow. This is important when fishing a bottom bait because not only does the braid give us better sensitivity, the high visibility yellow now gives us a visual cue when the bass bites. Think about all the times you've been fishing a Senko or a drop shot and the fish moved the lure 20 feet before you even realized you had a bite. The high visibility yellow now eliminates that issue, meaning you're going to land more bass. This category is also the most cumbersome because you will need to be comfortable with your braid to leader knot. I prefer the blood knot, which I'll link in a comment down below. A good rule of thumb is you need to retie your leader knot each trip before you hit the water. So let's recap the 50, 75, 95 rule. 50% braid is also known as backing. Everyone should fall into this category, but even braid to leader fanatics use it for jerk baits, spy baits, and deep crankbaits. The 75% category is for moving baits. Your braid should only come out on long casts, and if you're seeing that braid on short casts, it's time to retie your leader. And the 95% category is for bottom baits. The high visibility braid is going to give you extra sensitivity and visibility, but you will need to retie more often. And that's it. There's one more category, and that's straight braid, but that's reserved for frogs, punching, and swim jigs. Not too much to report there. If you all enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I love teaching you guys and sharing information, so there will be much more of this content in the future. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I cannot wait to see you guys on the next one.